Across the ages, one man's life and teachings have touched billions. His name is Jesus Christ. He is a beacon of hope. He is a symbol of love. His story continues to inspire us today. Jesus was born over 2,000 years ago. He lived a simple life. But his message was profound. It was a message of love. It was a message of forgiveness. It was a message of hope. Jesus' teachings transcended time. They crossed borders and cultures. Today, Christianity is a global religion. Billions follow his teachings. His life offers a timeless example for us all. Jesus' story begins in Bethlehem. He was born in a humble stable. His parents were Mary and Joseph. His birth was a miracle foretold by prophets. It was a sign of hope for humanity. As a young boy, Jesus astonished the teachers in the temple. They were amazed by his wisdom and understanding. This event foreshadowed his future role as a great teacher. Jesus grew up in Nazareth. He lived a simple life with his family. He learned carpentry from his father. These early years were a time of preparation. Jesus was preparing for his true calling. When Jesus was about 30 years old, his public ministry began. He was baptized by John the Baptist in the Jordan River. This marked the start of his mission. He would spread a powerful message of love and forgiveness. Jesus traveled throughout Galilee and Judea. He taught in synagogues and marketplaces. People were drawn to his wisdom and compassion. He spoke about the kingdom of God. He emphasized love, forgiveness, and compassion. His teachings were simple but profound. Love your neighbor as yourself. Forgive others as God has forgiven you. These messages resonated with the people. They continue to resonate with us today. Jesus performed many miracles during his ministry. He healed the sick. He gave sight to the blind. He even raised the dead. These miracles demonstrated his divine power. They showed his compassion for those who suffered. Through his miracles, Jesus brought hope to the hopeless. He healed their bodies, but he also healed their spirits. He offered them a chance for a new life. As Jesus traveled and taught, he gathered followers. He chose 12 men to be his closest disciples. These men would become his apostles. They would carry his message to the world. Jesus' teachings were, radical for his time. He challenged the religious and political authorities, and he spoke out against hypocrisy and injustice. He called for a return to faith and compassion. The Pharisees and Sadducees felt threatened by Jesus, so they questioned his authority and teachings. They even plotted to discredit him, wanting to silence his message altogether. But despite the opposition, Jesus continued to preach. He knew his message was important, and he would not be silenced. He remained committed to his mission. In the heart of ancient Jerusalem, as the city bustled with pilgrims and the air was thick with anticipation, Jesus gathered his closest followers for a sacred meal. This was no ordinary dinner, it was the Passover, a time when Jewish families remembered their deliverance from slavery in Egypt. But on this night, something extraordinary was about to unfold. This gathering would become known throughout history as the Last Supper, a moment that would forever change the course of faith and humanity. As the meal progressed, Jesus took simple elements, bread and wine, and gave them profound meaning. He broke the bread, passed it to his disciples, and poured the wine, inviting them to share in these symbols together. He explained that the bread represented his body, which would soon be broken, and the wine his blood, which would be poured out for many. In this act, he was offering himself as a sacrifice, a new covenant between God and humanity. The atmosphere grew heavy as Jesus spoke of betrayal and suffering. He comforted his friends, preparing them for the difficult hours ahead, even as sorrow and confusion filled the room. After the meal, Jesus led his disciples to the quiet shadowed Garden of Gethsemane. There, beneath ancient olive trees, he withdrew to pray, his heart weighed down by the knowledge of what was to come. In the stillness of the night, Jesus wrestled with anguish and fear, yet he surrendered to his destiny, praying, "Not my will, but yours be done." He knew his time was near, and that his sacrifice would bring hope to the world. Suddenly the peace of the garden was shattered. One of his own disciples, Judas Iscariot, arrived with a group of armed men. With a kiss, a symbol of friendship, Judas betrayed Jesus, setting the final events in motion. Jesus was seized, bound in chains, and led away through the darkened streets. He was brought before Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor, to face judgment. In a tense courtroom, Jesus stood silent as false accusations of blasphemy and rebellion were hurled at him. The crowd, stirred by fear and anger, demanded his death. Pilate, after questioning Jesus, found no fault in him. He was deeply troubled, unable to understand why the people wanted to condemn an innocent man. Yet the pressure from the crowd was overwhelming. Fearing unrest, Pilate symbolically washed his hands, declaring himself innocent of Jesus' blood, but ultimately gave in to their demands. Jesus was sentenced to death by crucifixion, a punishment reserved for the worst criminals. As he was led away, the weight of his sacrifice became clear. He was giving his life for the sake of all humanity, embodying the ultimate act of love and forgiveness. Jesus was crucified on a hill called Golgotha. This was a cruel and agonizing death, but even in his final moments he showed compassion. He forgave those who crucified him. After 3 days Jesus rose from the dead. This miraculous event is known as the resurrection. It is the cornerstone of the Christian faith. It represents victory over death and sin. The resurrected Jesus appeared to his disciples. He gave them instructions. He reassured them. He then ascended into heaven. After Jesus' ascension, his disciples found themselves at a crossroads. Their teacher was gone, but his message burned brightly in their hearts. Inspired by his words and the promise of the Holy Spirit, they gathered together, determined to continue his work. In the shadowy streets of ancient cities, they whispered stories of hope and miracles, risking everything to share what they had witnessed. The world around them was often hostile. Authorities viewed them with suspicion, and many faced threats, imprisonment, or even death for their beliefs. Yet despite the dangers, the disciples pressed on, fueled by a deep conviction that they were part of something far greater than themselves. They remained faithful to their mission, gathering in secret homes and hidden places to pray, encourage one another, and share the teachings of Jesus. Their faith was not just a private matter. It was a living, breathing movement that grew stronger in the face of adversity. Each challenge only deepened their resolve, and their unity became a powerful testimony to those who watched from the outside. The disciples knew they were spreading a message of hope, a hope that transcended social status, ethnicity, and background. In a world often marked by division and despair, their message promised something new: forgiveness, reconciliation, and the possibility of a transformed life. As the sun rose over ancient cities, more and more people were drawn to this radical new way of living. Among the early followers, one of the most influential figures was Paul. Once known as Saul, he was a man of great passion and intellect, deeply committed to his faith, but initially, he used that passion to oppose the very movement he would later champion. Saul was originally a fierce persecutor of Christians. He believed he was defending his tradition by hunting down those who followed Jesus, breaking up their gatherings, and even approving of violence against them. His zeal made him both feared and respected among his peers, but everything changed on the road to Damascus. In a moment that would alter the course of history, Saul experienced a profound encounter, a blinding light, a voice from heaven, and a revelation that shook him to his core. He realized that the very people he was persecuting were following the true path. This conversion was not just a change of mind, but a transformation of his entire being. From that day forward, Saul became Paul, a dedicated apostle and tireless advocate for the message of Jesus. He traveled extensively, enduring hardship, shipwrecks, and opposition, all to share the good news with as many people as possible. His journeys took him across the vast Roman Empire, from bustling cities to remote villages, always seeking out those willing to listen. Paul established churches throughout the Roman Empire, nurturing new communities of believers and helping them grow in faith. He taught them how to live out the teachings of Jesus in their daily lives, encouraging them to love one another, care for the poor, and remain steadfast in the face of trials. To guide these early churches, Paul wrote letters, passionate, heartfelt messages that addressed their struggles, answered their questions, and inspired them to keep going. These letters, filled with wisdom and encouragement, would later become part of the New Testament, shaping Christian thought for generations to come. The message of Jesus spread rapidly, carried by word of mouth, letters, and the courageous actions of countless men and women. From Jerusalem to Rome and beyond, the good news traveled along trade routes, across seas, and into the hearts of people everywhere. It resonated with people from all walks of life, rich and poor, slave and free, men and women, young and old. The message offered hope to the hopeless, forgiveness to the guilty, and a sense of belonging to those who felt alone. It was a message that broke down barriers and united people in a new kind of community. For many, embracing this new faith meant leaving behind old ways and stepping into the unknown. Through acts like baptism, they symbolized a turning away from the past and a commitment to a new way of life, one marked by love, forgiveness, and hope for the future. Today, Christianity is a global religion, woven into the fabric of countless societies and cultures. From bustling cities to remote villages, its influence can be seen in traditions, art, music, and the daily lives of millions. The story of Christianity is not just one of faith, but of resilience, adaptation, and hope that has endured for centuries. With over 2 billion followers worldwide, Christianity is the largest religion on earth. Its reach extends to every continent, uniting people of different languages, backgrounds, and experiences under a shared belief in the teachings of Jesus Christ. The words of Jesus, spoken over 2,000 years ago, continue to inspire and guide people from all walks of life. Whether read in quiet solitude or shared in vibrant communities, his teachings offer wisdom and comfort to those seeking meaning and direction. In moments of uncertainty or despair, these teachings shine like a beacon, offering hope in times of darkness. They remind us that even when the world feels overwhelming, there is always a light to guide us forward. At the heart of Christianity is a call to peace and understanding. Across the globe, people of different faiths and backgrounds come together, inspired by the message of reconciliation and unity that Jesus preached. His message of love transcends time and culture, reminding us that our differences are to be celebrated, not feared. In a world often divided, these teachings encourage us to build bridges and foster genuine connections. The relevance of Jesus' teachings endures, resonating with both young and old, in every corner of the world. They speak to the challenges of modern life just as powerfully as they did centuries ago, offering guidance on how to live with integrity, humility, and purpose. These teachings remind us to love one another, to show kindness and empathy in our daily interactions, and to cherish the bonds we share with family, friends, and even strangers. Forgiveness is another cornerstone of Jesus' message. In a world where misunderstandings and conflicts are inevitable, his example encourages us to let go of grudges, to seek reconciliation, and to offer second chances. Living with compassion and purpose is central to the Christian faith. Acts of service, whether grand or small, reflect the love and generosity that Jesus embodied. Through helping others, we find deeper meaning and fulfillment in our own lives. The legacy of Jesus' life and teachings continues to shape our world, inspiring communities to come together in service, education, and charity. His influence can be seen in countless acts of kindness and in the pursuit of justice for all. Every day, people are moved to acts of kindness, feeding the hungry, comforting the lonely, and reaching out to those in need, motivated by the enduring example of Jesus' compassion. His teachings also inspire us to strive for justice and peace, to stand up for what is right, and to work towards a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. Even in the darkest of times, the legacy of Jesus reminds us that there is always hope. His message endures, lighting the way for generations to come, and inspiring us all to build a better, more compassionate world.